My name is Eliza. I'm 29 and I thought I knew trust. I work at a publishing house in Chicago, small team, big deadlines, endless coffee. My best friend Leela was more than a colleague. She was family outside of family, or so I believed. It all started subtly. Leela loved gossip, but I ignored it. I had my manuscript nearly finished, months of work on a personal memoir that I never intended anyone to read until it was polished. I shared snippets with Leela because, well, she was my sounding board. I thought we were friends. One Thursday morning, I noticed an email titled, "Upcoming Memoir Review, Chicago Reads," from Leela. I froze. My stomach dropped. She had submitted my manuscript to a small literary festival without my permission. I called her. "Leela, why would you send this?" Her voice was light, teasing. "Eliza, it's brilliant. People need to see it. You're wasting time keeping it hidden. Don't be dramatic." "Dramatic?" I asked. "I trusted you. This wasn't yours to send." Her laugh came over the line. "Relax, it's exposure, it's opportunity. You're welcome." I hung up. My hands were shaking, coffee forgotten. I stared at my laptop, the sent confirmation, my work already floating in someone else's hands. I realized that sometimes those closest to you can betray your trust not out of malice, but out of entitlement to your life. Over the next few days, the fallout was intense. Emails from the festival arrived. Leela had exaggerated my experience, inserted details I hadn't approved, and tagged me as a debut author when I was still months away from finishing. I felt cornered. My reputation, my voice, my carefully curated work, it had all been hijacked. I didn't confront her immediately. I documented everything. The emails she sent, the versions she modified, the screenshots of our chat conversations where she subtly pressured me to share more and be brave. Then came the invitation to meet the festival organizers in person. I sat in the corner of a trendy cafe, laptop open, hands trembling. Leela arrived, bright smile, latte in hand. "Eliza, you have to see how much excitement your story is getting," she said, sliding her phone across the table. I looked. Comments, likes, shares. People were fascinated by my personal story, excerpts from my life that I had never intended to reveal publicly. "Leela," I said slowly, "you've shared private parts of my life without permission. This isn't encouragement, this is violation." Her smile faltered just slightly. "You're overreacting. You'll thank me later. This is your chance." "No," I said firmly. "Chance doesn't come at the cost of consent." I opened my folder of evidence. Screenshots, emails, chat logs, timestamps, everything she had touched. "This," I said, "is proof that my work, my voice, my story is mine. You don't get to rewrite it. You don't get to publish it without me." She paled. "Eliza, it's not like that. You just assumed you could decide for me," I cut in. "Friendship isn't an excuse for betrayal." The confrontation escalated slowly, painfully. Leela tried to argue, tried to guilt me with phrases like, "I only wanted to help, and you're too scared to take risks." But I had spent weeks documenting every breach of trust. I didn't react with emotion. I reacted with facts. By the time we left the cafe, I had done something radical. I drafted a formal letter to the festival organizers, outlining exactly which parts were my intellectual property, which parts had been shared without consent, and the timeline of how Leela had submitted my manuscript. Within 2 days, the organizers acknowledged the issue. My work was temporarily withdrawn from the festival lineup pending my approval. Leela was furious, claiming I was sabotaging her good intentions. I didn't reply. I kept working, slowly revising my manuscript. Each word, each paragraph became a reclamation of my life. Months later, my manuscript was ready. Leela was no longer my collaborator. Our friendship had fractured irreparably. I submitted the work under my own name, under my own terms. At the launch event, I stood in front of a small audience, reading passages from my life. The applause was warm, personal, authentic, and for the first time, it was entirely mine. I had learned something crucial. Boundaries aren't just about keeping people out. They're about keeping your voice safe. Sometimes, the ones closest to you need to be held accountable for overstepping. And sometimes, love and loyalty are not enough to protect your story. You have to protect yourself. Takeaway: friendship can be complicated. Trust is fragile. Protect your boundaries, document carefully, and never let someone hijack your voice, even if they are like family. Your story, your life, your choices. Title: my name was on their mortgage for years. Then I stopped paying the truth they couldn't hide. Thumbnail script: they cried, begged, and laughed like it was harmless. But every payment, every notice, every secret was my leverage. This Christmas, I drew the line.